BC सरकार अपने कल पेश किए गए 2022 के सालाना बजट ਨੂੰ एक वधिया ਅਤੇ BC ਦੀ ਆਰਥਿਕਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਬਜਟ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਵਿਰੋਧੀ ਧਿਰ ਸਮੇਤ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸੰਸਥਾਵਾਂ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਇਹ ਬਜਟ ਹਕੀਕਤ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਹਾਂ ਦੂਰ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਮਹਾਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਹਿੰਗਾਈ ਦੀ ਮਾਰ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਾਹ ਫੜਨ ਲਈ ਇਸ ਬਜਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੱਢਣ ਪਾਉਣ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ।
And this budget is really about making life better by building on our economic, our environmental, and our social strength. We're bringing forward $100 million into this year so that we can build even more housing, about 800 homes more. We're spending about $1.2 billion in annual funding on affordable housing. That's 3 times more than what was being spent in 2017. $27.4 billion of infrastructure spending to build schools and hospitals and highways. That will also create 100,000 jobs.
Whether it's gasoline, whether it's housing, whether it's grocery costs, which are now escalating dramatically, it almost doesn't matter. Whether it's rental costs in Surrey, rental costs since the NDP have been in power are up over $3,200 a year for the average renter. And yet, you'll recall that back in 2017, when they first ran for office, they promised a $400 renters rebate. And here we are in their 6th budget, nothing for the renters once again.
The Surrey Hospital is in the budget. It has $1.66 billion in it for the Surrey Hospital and Cancer Center. So I want to be very, very clear. We expect to see shovels in the ground by the middle, I believe, of next year. And welcoming patients in 2027. So that is happening.
Because what they're proposing is 168 beds. It is going to have only 5 operating rooms, and it's going to be cancer facilities so that you can go and get chemotherapy, etc. And that's important. Don't get me wrong. But this is not a full-service hospital like Surrey Memorial. Do not kid yourself. And the reason why they are slow walking it and only providing $2 million for planning, I believe, is because they don't really want to build it. At the end of the day, that's what this budget is telling me.
Our commitment is universal childcare, $10 a day, making sure it's safe, making sure it's quality, and we're going to get there. And we said it would take 10 years. So here we are halfway through, we're 5 years in, and we are getting down to an average of $20 a day for all families. We're starting with toddlers and infants first, and then in the following school year, you'll see with before and after school care, they too will benefit from that.
The greatest amount of new spaces that have come available in the childcare sector has been as a result of private operators expanding the seats available. They're virtually all, like 99% of them, are run by women. And the NDP have said, we want to expand daycare, but we don't want any private sector involvement or not-for-profit involvement. We want it all government run. And because of that, they're going to drive all the people that are creating the spaces out of the business.
Probably need at least $200 million more on an annual basis in the system. So committing those dollars, step number 1, but step number 2, right? There are already staffing shortages, right? It's not the case that you can get additional hours on top of those that are publicly funded right now. There is a shortage of hours for ABA, for speech therapy, for occupational therapy. And so with additional kids coming into the system, right, those staffing pressures are going to bind.
Of course, we do appreciate that the BC government did not introduce any new costs or additional tax increases for small businesses. However, that does not change the fact that there's still going to be hit with the cost of employer paid sick day, carbon tax increases, the employer health tax.
So there was a number of measures that we were hoping to see that we did not. You know, for example, there could have been measures around the marginal tax rate. There could have been measures around incentives to accelerate adoption. There could have also been measures to increase the threshold on the employer health tax. So there were a number of things that I think that could have been done that we did not see.